If I had to put my feelings toward comedy into words, I need it. One of my favorite moments in comedy, and I think a lot of us, was Chappelle's Killing 'Em Softly. Dave Chappelle came out on Killing 'Em Softly and dropped one of the greatest hours in comedy. It was almost like a coming out party, man, for him, because he did that and it was like everything banged, and it was topical, and it was fresh, and it was exciting and new. I remember Ellen DeGeneres did one years ago. It was one of her first specials I'd ever seen back in HBO days. And she started at the top of the show with a joke. And she said, she made this statement, nobody knew what it meant. She said, well, let me explain. And she goes for an hour, does her whole set. And the closer is her explaining the very first joke she said, that very first, and that's why such and such. And it was the first line of the comedy show. And she basically took an hour to bring it back. It was the greatest callback. My name is Roderick McDaniel. On stage, I'm known as Roderick McDaniel. And my nicknames are plenty. But the most I think everybody's gonna know me as Coach. 4th grade, I used to watch HBO, stand-up comedy. And I would watch it with my dad. You know, young kid, we had cable. And Rodney Dangerfield used to do these specials all the time on HBO. It was like a New Year's Eve show. And it'd be like New Year's Eve on HBO, they'd play stand-up comedy specials to welcome in the new year. And Rodney would always have his rising stars. And I remember watching it, and I saw guys like Stephen Wright, Roseanne Barr, Steve White, all these great names in comedy perform on there. And I remember looking at my dad and said, I'm gonna have an HBO special one day, and I'm gonna do stand-up comedy. And I kind of knew I wanted to be a stand-up comedian when I was a kid, 4th grade. I remember that. I don't really remember when I thought it would be a reality. I just remember there were all these little incidents that kept leading to it. So I was in Desert Storm. I was on board the USS Tripoli. We hit a mine, and I remember when we hit this mine, it was like a 300-pound explosive. We're at general quarters, you know. Don't know how bad the damage is. We're just kind of dead in the water. And I was in Combat Information Center because I was an operations specialist. And we were in there, and I remember I was sitting behind this board, no power, none of our equipment's working. And I guess I had this look on my face that was pretty serious and deep. And one of my buddies like, what you thinking about? And I just remember saying, I'm thinking about my life. And, you know, I'm thinking about the people I wish I would have told I love more. I'm thinking about the people I wish I would have told to kiss my ass. I'm thinking about the people that I should have been kinder to and confessed my feelings to. And then I'm thinking about the people I wish I would have told to fuck off. And he was like, which one do you regret the most? I said, man, I really regret not telling more people to kiss my ass.
This your boy. We out here doing comedy at an anime convention. I've never even been to an anime convention. Watched anime for 11 years, jerked off to so much shit. Probably shouldn't say that on record, but I already said it. It's already out there. Now I've never actually been to an anime convention, so this is you know, this is my return to Mecca. This is like what the Jews, when Jews go to like Israel. I'm home. I met Coach at Romo Rome. I guess it was 2020. I got here. It had to be the year 2020 when I met Coach at Romo Rome, back when that was still a thing that no one goes to anymore, because that place is now a goddamn indoor putt-putt golf course. And all I remember was us striking up a conversation about anime. And for me, seeing a dude who, from across the room looks like Uncle Phil, to be such an anime head was kind of like, oh, like this is like new. Like you don't really see a lot of dudes like that.
I was a guest at Anime Austin 2017. I was like a programming guest. I was doing panels, and honestly, I was way in too deep. I was not aware of like what where I was out of my element, if you will. And I was at the autograph session doing autographs when nobody knew who I was, and really nobody had any reason to want an autograph from me. But I was still there, and I think it was after the autograph session. I look over in my head. I look over to the left, and I see Coach and Reed, his cameraman, doing an interview with another guest. And in my head, the first thing I thought was, I want to do an interview with that person. I was looking for ways to expand my brand. I was like, he looks really professional. They got a big ass camera set up. That seems like I want to get in with that. And then the rest is history. Like I walked up to him and I was like, hey, I introduced myself. And then lo and behold, the next day we were doing an interview.
I probably met him like how most people meet someone in the comedy scene, just at an open mic, because everyone's constantly trying to work on new material. So I probably met him at a mic, probably in Round Rock, which is most likely, because doesn't he live in like Round Rock or something? So, black, old, don't want to drive too far. Round Rock is the place he's going to be at, which is close to his normal crowd, old white people. It's perfect. So I probably met him at like some tavern up there. And he's typical dude, like really nice guy. Reminds me of my uncle, which is like every typical black uncle. Really nice. Always willing to give you advice that you didn't ask for. Probably still need, but again, you did not ask for. Drinking the cheapest beer possible, but still has like a taste for it. Great dude, great dude.
The way I believe a good joke is I like jokes that bring me in, I'm more about like letting them into my personal life. Before I never used to do that. So I like jokes that give you a personal glimpse of who I am, but also I'm going to say something to you about some tough subjects I might discuss. I might discuss a situation I have with a police officer, but I'm going to twist that story, and it's going to have a twist in you. And a lot of times that's because a lot of those situations really have happened. So I kind of like finding the absurd in life. I know I have friends that are like, oh, if you could tell this great story, why is it this? Why should it be funny? Tell it in a minute. And I know everybody follows their own technique for writing jokes, but for me, mine is based on more. I want to tell you a story, and this story is going to connect to something at the very end of my show. So I'm going to take you on a journey from the start, and when the show ends on this joke, I'm going to connect it all. There's going to be one string that's going to connect it. And so a lot of times when I write with albums. I'm always wanting to give you an hour as a headliner, not anything less. So if even at I'm at an open mic, I'm testing a bit that's part of an hour. Before show, I still kind of get the jitters and I get nervous before shows. And sometimes I'm so nervous, my hands visually will shake. You can see it. Sometimes I'm nervous during the performance and I have to do this with my hand or brace my arm like this so people don't notice that I'm shaking. But thoughts before a show, usually I used to sit there and be so meticulous, like, oh, I'm gonna start with this joke and I'm gonna go to this joke and then I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna hit that punchline and I'm gonna do these tags. I used to think it through. I'd overthink it. And just one day, I just quit doing that. The only thing I think about is I look at the crowd. I'm looking at, I hope I have a good show. I'm clearing my mind. I'm looking at my phone. Pogs, big booty white girls popping their stuff on Instagram. Sometimes I look at that.
Have you interviewed anybody else and got where did the Coach Silky name come from?
What happened was I was working at a GameStop and this little kid came into my store. And anytime little kids came into the store, I used to talk to them like they were adults. They were shopping customers. And I would always go to, hey, little man, little lady, if you got any questions, just let me know. I'll be right over here. If there's anything you're looking for, just keep me posted. I'll help you out any way I can. And I'd leave them alone, let them shop. But one time I said that to this little kid, he stared at me like I was his long lost dad. And he was freaking out, like visibly shaken by me talking to him. And I did not know why he was freaking out. And I was kind of getting worried, like, this kid better not tell me he's my kid. I don't know this kid. Who's your mom? But he started looking at me and it was just a weird look. So I go, what's the matter, little man? And he goes, "Oh my God, is that you on the poster?" And he points over this shoulder, I remember, and I turn around, and there was a poster for the video game Left 4 Dead 2. And the big black guy with the bald head and the beard is named Coach in the game. And the game takes place in Louisiana. He's wearing this kind of like a blue and yellow, purplish yellow polo shirt that was kind of like an LSU polo, and khaki pants. And definitely, they're white New Balance sneakers. Black Uncle sneakers is what he's wearing in the game. And I look down and I'm wearing the outfit on the poster. I'm bald and I got gray stubble at the time. No beard, just a gray stubble like Coach. And I was like, no, that's not me, but he is shook. And my staff heard him say that, and they started calling me Coach. They started asking customers, doesn't it look like Roderick at the poster? So the nickname just followed me. Now I thought when I moved to Austin in 2014, that nickname's dead. Nobody knows me as Coach here. Nobody will ever know me as Coach. And I took a job working at Electronic Arts video game company. You got a nickname? And they get to me and I go, no, I don't have a nickname. Everybody has a nickname. What is it? I don't want to discuss it. And they were like, come on. And I said, look, I'll tell you guys, but y'all can't say nothing about this, okay? It cannot leave this room. I don't ever want to hear it again. And they go, okay, what is it? And I said, how many of y'all played Left 4 Dead 2? And as soon as I said that, everybody in the room kind of went, oh, but there's 7 of them out loud just went, oh my God, you do look like him. Like, there was a guy that came up to me and he said, hey, you know who Roderick McDaniel is? Man, he came up with this great idea and we saw it online and we liked it and we wanted to talk to him about it. Bro, I'm Roderick McDaniel. And they went, what? And I went, yeah, I'm Roderick McDaniel. That's my name. They went, oh, we thought your name was Coach. You literally thought my first name was Coach. They were so dead serious. There's this persona Coach that's way bigger than I remember. Like, I wish I had Coach's fan base. People want to laugh. They just want to be entertained. Doesn't matter what they voted, how they believe, how they pray, sexual orientation. None of that matters. People just want to laugh. And I think I write jokes based on the way that they appeal to a large swath of people. There are jokes that I could tell at an anime convention that only the people at the anime convention would get. But every time I'm at an anime convention, a lot of the jokes that I tell are the same jokes I'm going to tell in a normal comedy club. And even if I do have a bit about anime, it is something that speaks to a larger volume of people. I was booked to talk to 4,000 8th graders one time. And that was the strangest thing ever, because 8th graders are looking at me and they're like, what is this dude gonna say? And I just remember seeing this girl on the front row. She was like 7 months pregnant, maybe 8. She looked like she was about to pop anytime during my show. And I did a joke about why everybody's dad is angry all the time, because every dad had a kid instead of a PS3, and every kid in there laughed at that joke. And I said, I want you to know, when your dad is sad, it truly is your fault. I don't want you to think it's not. And the kids got the joke. They laughed. And so I like writing jokes that speak to the human experience more than just like, oh, it only speaks to this subset of people. I have jokes that I know will make the crowd totally turn on me. I know I'm not going to get anybody to agree with what I'm about to say, and I want them not to agree with it, because I'm about to punch them in the nose with something I'm about to say that's going to make them go, oh, I never thought of it like that. I do it on purpose. I've seen comedians do it. I have buddies that tell some jokes that are just like, oh, like I'm groaning. I'm like, oh my God, no, they're about to destroy this whole room. The good vibes and all the goodwill they built up is about to leave. And then they just sock them in the nose with this great punchline. I love those jokes. I have several. And there are jokes that I tell sometimes. I tell a joke about being in Hope, Florida, and the Circle KKK. It's one of my favorite jokes. And my joke about my kids and their mixed ethnicity, where I was creating racial slurs for them. Like, what are the worst things my kids were going to get called? I told that joke, and you can hear the crowd groaning and getting uncomfortable. But the punchline to that joke always kills them. They always come right back. But I want them to get uncomfortable when I talk about race. Yeah, so there's a reason for that. It's beauty. People ask me all the time, why did you take your comedy to anime conventions? So for 2 years, I did a podcast with my best friends, and it was called Team Lift. And when we did the Team Lift podcast, it was just a way for us to kind of hang out and talk about stuff we wanted to talk about: video games and anime, nerd culture, MCU, movies. And then I could talk about the movies and then the comic book storylines and the Easter eggs from the film and stuff. I would talk all this stuff. And then we would go to these anime conventions as press. They would give us press passes, and we'd interview voice actors for our YouTube channel and stuff. And it was always cool. You know, we were always doing this thing, man, with my best friends. Then we started doing panels. You know, and a panel is basically a PowerPoint where you're presenting a subject at a table with your computer hooked up to a PowerPoint screen, and people come sit in these rooms and listen to your presentation. All my presentations were just extensions of my stand-up comedy, and I would present subjects with jokes. It was all I joked the entire hour of these panels, okay? And so then I was doing so many of them and getting a reputation for being funny. Then I just started trying to make them like more outlandish. Like I created Welcome to the Trash Heap, which is where I would find anime so good, so bad it's good. And I would skewer it kind of like Mystery Science Theater. I would do that, but like tell you why it was garbage, but why it was good garbage, or tell you it was garbage and why it was bad garbage. I love anime conventions, and I love the people at anime conventions, and I love the energy of anime conventions, and I feel revitalized. It's a place where I feel the most at home with people, celebrating the fandom, and I watch a lot of anime. Right? And so I think it was a natural progression for my stand-up to eventually show up there, because I was already doing the panels and interviews and press. And so it was such a large part of my life and such a large part of who I am. I don't know what took us so long to finally come to them and pitch an idea of comedy there. But when we pitched it, they loved it. And it culminated in IkiCon 2021, 22. You know, what was that, New Year's Eve 2022? Yeah. So we came in there and I produced my first show, and I booked all the comics, and we gave them a comedy show, a 2-hour comedy special. And I think to say it was successful would be an understatement. It was better than we could have possibly imagined. We were all telling stories. That's the thing we did as a family. We would all tell stories. Aunts, uncles, grandparents, everybody's there. And I started what was basically my first bit about having black rednecks in our family. And I told these stories about going to this little country town in Grapeland, Texas, my dad grew up in every summer, and calling everybody there black rednecks. And my dad laughed so hard he started crying. And my brother was like, hey, dude, I've never seen Dad laugh like that. My dad was laughing to the point where he's like, hey, you gotta quit, I gotta catch my breath. So I quit. My brother said, hey, come with me to the car and help me get some stuff out. So we walk outside this car. I'm not getting anything out, man. He's getting some Christmas gifts to put under the tree for tomorrow. But basically, he goes, we get back home to Amarillo, you're going to that comedy club and you're gonna try it at their open mic. I said, what if I suck? Well, if you suck, I'll give you $25 and we'll never mention it to anybody. My kids absolutely love it. They are so happy for me because they know I'm chasing a dream. And I was chasing a dream when they were little, and I kind of gave up on the dream to be a dad, to raise them, get them all out the house. And then after they were gone, I just kind of went back to it, just got back into this habit. I want to go back to where I was and start over as a nobody and build myself back up. And I did it by moving to Austin in 2014 and being a nobody. Nobody knew me here. So my kids think it's awesome. My mom because I went and got a college degree while I was doing it. I finished out my degree, so she thinks it's awesome now because she's like, there's a degree to fall back on. But let's be real, I'm 51. What am I going to fall back on? The best tip I can give you if you want a 20-year career in comedy and you want to be a headliner, get your shit together. There it is. I know that people pay to see me tell jokes. I'd be drunk, I'd be high. So I don't do anything substance-wise, alcohol or drugs before a show. And I love edibles. And I won't take them before a show. Just won't do it. Also, I think when people are seeing a headliner, they're expecting you to do, bare minimum, you better do 45 minutes. You know, if you call yourself a headliner and you only got 30, sit down somewhere. You're a great feature. No matter who goes in front of you, I don't care if it's the best comic, the dopest comic. If Chappelle goes in front of you, you better be as high energy as Chappelle if you have to follow him. The headliners I admire are open. They're open to talking to the younger comics and giving back to them information. Look, man, why should they have to reinvent a wheel you've already made and you're riding on successfully? Help them to come up, man. Throw that line back. And that's what I think a good headliner should be about, man. Should definitely be open, approachable, kind, humble, high energy, and funny as hell. What is the future of my comedy career? Good question. Man, you didn't ask me an easy one with that one. What is the future of my comedy career? I would like to say that the future of my comedy career is going to be, it's going to be determined by every month, every year. It's going to change. Right now, I did an album last year, and I'm already plotting album number 3. Like, I have 30 minutes of album number 3 written, and I'm performing it. Like, I'm out doing it at shows, man. I want to be like the Rolling Stones of this. I want to be 70 and still going out on tour and rocking crowds. And still a new generation discovers my jokes and loves it. That's what I want to do. I never reinvented myself, man. I just been me from day one. So by being me from day one, if you watch me start at my very first mic to where I am today, there's a story being told about who I was as a person and how I've changed. What I used to believe when I was in my late 20s, early 30s is not who I am at 51. I'm definitely more about spreading love and being open-minded and inclusive and celebrating everybody. You know, I don't have to agree with how you voted to treat you with kindness and respect. I don't have to agree with how you pray or who you sleep with or how much money you make or what you do with the money you make. None of that's my business anyway. And because I'm always spreading this message of unity, I think it's always a message that seems to be needed, desired, and wanted by the people that like my comedy. Feelings after a successful show. You ever had sex? It's better than that. No, after a great show, you're on cloud 9. Every joke hit. It is, it's damn near orgasmic, man, when the audience is and you're vibing together and they go on the journey and they love all your jokes and they love you. They're feeding off your energy. You're feeding off their energy. It's a great tango. You're just this amazing dance partner. A bad show, like none of your jokes work, nobody laughed, you just know you just died in front of that crowd. That sits on you a lot longer than the vibe of a good show. The vibes after a bad show will have you questioning whether you even want to do comedy. You'll start to question, do I even want to do this? Do I want to tell jokes? I should quit. I should get a job. I suck. Like, it is the worst feeling ever because you start questioning things like, and it's weird. And I don't think a lot of us think of this, but if you do a lot of open mics in one night, and I remember seeing this, you can go to one part of town in Austin and do the same 5 minutes and it'll kill. And then you go to another part of town and do the exact same 5 minutes with the exact same breaks, pauses, and die. And it's just like, how did that joke not work? And guys will seriously, I've seen guys almost be ready to quit comedy behind stuff like that. And no, man, that's what makes you stronger. That's what makes you better. I think you have to take those L's, man. And it keeps you humble. It keeps you humble. It keeps you hungry. I've had some L's, man. I've had some L's in my career, man, that they sat on me like a big girl on your chest. You just can't breathe after it happens, man. I don't mind telling people I'm a stand-up comedian. I busted my ass to be able to say I was a stand-up comedian. I sacrificed to be able to say I was a stand-up comedian. And if you can't say what you do, that's maybe a reason for you to question why you're doing it. But man, for me personally, I need comedy, man. It feeds a part of my, it's as much a part of me as breathing and living in my spiritual life, man. I need it. It completes me in a way. My big success may be that 20 years after I started, I'm still doing this.
And just really finding my voice in comedy, which, as cheesy as that is to say, he has helped me do that. He's helped me find at least my, like, what I want to say, and knowing that like I can talk about what I want to talk about, even if it's weird and eccentric and not the normal zeitgeist for everyone. It's fine to do that and take that chance. As long as you're willing to work for it and make it yours, doesn't matter.
Who could have just told me, hey, bro, it's cool just to be yourself. You can live life and you can love and you can be loved and you can do anything you want to while being yourself, while being black.
This is all the people. We all gonna watch hentai together and play for games.
He's the kind of dude you can go to him with anything and he will help you. He'll root for you. He'll tell you when you're being an asshole. He'll tell you when you're being a little bitch. But he'll also tell you, hey, you got something here. You're on something. You got something gold here.
Getting dressed like a Saturday. Nothing else even matters, babe.
It's Roderick McDaniel!
So how's everybody doing? Hell yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Man, I'm just so glad to be here tonight. You know, we're all a bunch of different races. We came in here and we've laughed together. And that's really what the world should be about in 2016. I think the fact that we can't get along because of different skin colors is stupid as hell in 2016. It really is. No, seriously. I know you were thinking, you heard the name Roderick McDaniel, you thought, I bet he's Irish. You were disappointed as fuck when I got up here. It's like, that is not an Irishman. I do not remember them looking like that. Damn right. I'm really sensitive about racism, man. I have 7 kids. 4 of them are black and Mexican. I called them the Blexicans. I used to call them the Mexilacs, but that sounded like a Spanish suppository, so I cut that shit out. But I'm married to a white woman now, if you couldn't figure that one out. Means every time we have a family reunion, one of her family members gets drunk, ends up calling my kids spiggers. Ain't that a bitch? And I want to get mad about it, but I'm drunk my damn self, and I just called them a bunch of wet blacks. So, just gotta let the shit go. It's crazy, man. I think about the thing. What's the most racist thing my kids were going to get called? I really had to sit down and think about that one time. All I could come up with was porch chihuahuas. That was it. And that shit sounds kind of cute. I don't know about you, but I was like, really? Pissed me off. One time I was in a bathroom, in a public restroom, and somebody wrote on the wall, "Beaners like to eat beans." And I got pissed off. I thought, that's fucked up. We're gonna pick on a whole race because of some diet stereotype. Because let's face it, if we start calling people out for what they like to eat, 50% of the men in this room would be a bunch of pussies. And since it's Austin, 20% of the men would be a bunch of dicks. 5% of that 20 would still be eating dicks in closets because their family has issues with their diet. A lot of dick eaters coming out at, the church. Something to think about. Parents, can you make some noise? There's some parents in here tonight. Yeah, not a lot of you. That means the rest of you are smart as fuck. But the people who did applaud that admitted they were parents, I just want everybody that didn't applaud, look at those people. They hate their fucking kids. They don't tell you that they hate their fucking kids, but they do. As a parent, you fucking hate your kids sometimes and here's why. They ruin sex for you. Y'all remember how it was before the kids showed up at the house? You had sex all over that son of a bitch. It was a sexual paradise. You walk in the kitchen, "Hey girl, what are you doing?" "Dishes." "Hell yeah." That was it. That's it. "Hey, what are you doing?" "Oh, I'm gonna do a load of wipes." "You got another load to deal with." You was cool with that. It's your damn house. And fucking terrorists called kids showed up, you start having what I like to call SeaWorld sex. Y'all have all had that, parents. You know that's that sex where you're like this. You will flip a lamp on to make sure you're not fucking Flipper. That's bullshit. Men, we aren't no better. We are no better. We've all had pirate sex. Every man in here has had pirate sex. That's that sex where you're like, oh, you're blowing the man down. Kids will ruin that shit. Be at the door. "Mommy, Daddy, what are you doing?" "Get the fuck away from the door." "Mommy's in here shivering me timbers." Man, it's been a blast talking to y'all tonight. I just want to say something, man, before I leave. I think that video that's viral right now about cultural appropriation is bullshit, okay? I think the whole thing about this girl being mad because a white guy had black hair, that's total bullshit. It is. Because let's face it, cultural appropriation is amazing because Ty's right, that is how we got the fucking Wu-Tang Clan. And if that bitch fucks that up for us, I'm knocking her the fuck out. I'm Roderick McDaniel, man. Y'all been great. Peace.
Coach, first time I had some alien coochie, I was in Tijuana. They were from the Zentron 5 galaxy. I wanted to be Zap Brannigan when I grew up.